Now, another new feature in the Photoshop CC 2020 is the object selection tool. Now, of all the new features in this version, in the 2019 version, in fact, in the last 3-4 years, object selection remains as one of my most favorite tools. All right, it's like for people like us, old schoolers who've been working on Photoshop for quite some time, if we had to select an object, we had to go to channels or use color range or use the pen tool, alright, or advanced masking techniques. But with object selection, the technology under the hood is Adobe Sensei, which is basically their artificial intelligence, wherein Photoshop can identify a subject within an image and select it for you. Now, how cool is that? That's cutting edge stuff, alright? So all you need to do is click select image on the options panel, and Photoshop will do it for you. It will select the subject, give it to you. You want it, you just want a selection, you get it. You want it masked, you will get it, and then you can composite it anywhere you want on a new background. Alright, so some really fascinating stuff, and one of my personal favorite features. Alright, it was introduced in the last version, but now they have enhanced it. So you will get pixel perfect selections. Alright, now obviously if you're looking to mask here, then you cannot expect it to do the business for you. Alright, you would have to make some selections yourself in the channels, but then again object selection will do much of the heavy lifting for you. Alright, almost it will take you almost 98 to 99% there. Let me show you how it works. Alright, so object selection is the fourth tool in the tools panel. Alright, it's nested in our old friend magic wand and quick selection tool. So you can see I have a pigeon. Now this is obviously the subject in the image. Now this is a high contrasting image. We have a light background against the dark subject, so it's easy to select the subject over here. Alright, so let me show you how it works. I'm going to hit W on my keyboard or select the fourth option, object selection tool over here. Alright, and I'm going to click select subject on the options panel. The moment I do that, Photoshop is going to do the magic, and you can see this is quite a magic. Alright, this is fascinating stuff. This is fab. It has selected the object for me. It has selected the subject for me. I can, if I want, I can always mask it, composite it in a new background. Alright, I'm going to hit Ctrl Z on my keyboard to undo this. And let me show you another example of the tool. Over here you can see it's a little complex image. Alright, so let's see, let's try out the same technique and see if Photoshop can select the bird for us. Alright, so let's see if Sensei is smart enough to distinguish between the bird and the branches of this tree and give us a selection. Now ideally, even I mean, we can understand that the subject is a bird, but for an artificial intelligence to distinguish between a tree and a bird, and then again what is the subject for you, it's going to be a little tricky. Alright, so what it does is it looks at the pixels and then tries to do its stuff, identify what is subject, what is the background, what is the foreground, and then what is the subject. So I'll just go ahead and click select subject over here, and well, I just want to select the bird, but you can see it has done a pretty decent job of not selecting the background. It has selected the branches for me, the tree branches, as well as the bird. Now this is something that I don't want, so I'm going to hit Ctrl D to deselect. That would be Command D on Mac, and now I'm just going to shift drag around the bird, and you can see while I'm doing it, I can hold down the space bar on my keyboard to move around this selection, the marching ants, and reposition my selection over here. And yeah, that's it. I'm going to leave the left button from my mouse, and you can see it has done a pretty decent job. Alright, if I just zoom in, you can see some portion of the tree branch has been selected. I can hold down the Alt key, and you can see next to my cursor there is a minus sign. Alright, it's a visual indicator of subtracting from the existing selection. So I'm going to deselect from the selection, subtract from the selection. You can see, keep an eye on the marching ends, and you can see I have removed from selection. Now I can also see some stuff over here, some portion of wood I would like to deselect from here as well. And yeah. Alright, so this is pretty good. If I want, I can hold down the shift key, add some part of the skin over here. No, for that I think I would have to go with the shift, with the pen tool or a channel tool. But it has done pretty much for me. Alright, so it's much of the heavy lifting has already been done over here, you can see. And yep, I can go ahead and mask it. And if I want, I can come back over here. Alright, so I forgot to remove this, so I can maybe hit the brush tool, use the bracket keys to reduce the size. And I'm just going to paint with the brush tool over here quickly. Yep, and like so. I can further reduce the brush tool by pressing the bracket keys, and I'm gonna paint over the area that I don't need. So yep, this looks fine. There is some color fringing going on, but then again, that is beyond the scope of this example. Alright, I'm just covering a feature over here, so this is not a lecture on channels and masking. For that, I would suggest you refer to Dick McLean's Channels and Masking. Alright, that is the Bible on channels and masking. For any photographer, you want to learn something about selecting here, alright, then Photoshop Channels and Masking, Photoshop CS3 and CS4. In fact, that is what is the best resource as for me on channels and masking. Anyhow, let me take you through some through some other examples over here. So you can see we have 3 objects over here. Let's again go ahead and click. Let me just first of all hit V on my keyboard to select the move tool. And now I'm going to hit W to select the object selection tool. I'm going to click select subject from the options panel, options bar, and you can see it has selected all the 3 subjects for me. I'm going to hit Ctrl D to deselect, and I'm going to drag around Gautam Buddha over here. Alright, I want the Buddha statue to be selected, and you can see it's done a pretty decent job once again. Now what if I want to select the other object over here as well? I'm going to hold down the shift key, and while I do that, you can see there is a plus sign next to my cursor. Alright, I'm going to drag around, and you can see we are adding to the selection. How cool is that? Alright, so I'm not using quick selection, I'm using object selection tool over here. Alright, with quick selection it would have taken at least 5 to 6 clicks for me. Alright, and then again some adding and reducing from that, removing from that. So you can see it's doing a pretty decent job over here. Now I'm again going to hit Ctrl D to deselect, and let me show you another option over here. When in object selection tool, go ahead and click select and mask. Now this option was always there earlier. This dialog box, it used to be called refine edge. Alright, and it was pretty decent functionality, pretty decent tool, but now Adobe has taken it to a next level. Alright, so while you could always use the paintbrush tool to deselect or select the regions that you wanted in your mask, now we also have object selection tool which can be accessed from this panel. Alright, and I can just, first of all, I'll select the view that best matches my requirement. I can select normal view, that is marching ends, or I can go with Ruby Lit overlay, alright, or onion skin, or black and white. I'm going to go with onion skin over here, and let me just go ahead and look at the reduce the transparency, and I'm going to marquee drag around the bulb to select it. Alright, and let's see if Photoshop can select it for me, and you can see it has selected Gautam Buddha for me. Alright, so instead of playing around with the brush tool and selecting the regions that I wanted in the masks, deselecting the regions that I didn't want in the mask, alright, I can just play around with the selection tool, basically object selection tool. I'm going to click OK to commit the changes, and you can see not only Photoshop selects Gautam Buddha for me, it also masks it. So it has created a layer mask, And if I hold down the shift key, you can see we have the entire image over here. But when I enable the mask, you can see Gautam Buddha has been selected. Alright, so it has created a mask, applied it. This is non-destructive way of working in Adobe Photoshop. Alright, rather than cutting the image, pasting it on a new layer, or jumping the image to a new layer, always work with masks. Alright, so some fascinating stuff. Let's move over to another example, another application of this technology. So again, I'm going to click select subject when in object selection mode. And let's see what happens. And awesome, fab. So you can see it has selected the bird for me. Alright, I don't need to do anything. I can just go ahead and click the mask button over here. Alright, and yep, pretty good. Likewise, if I go to, we have two more examples over here. You can use it for product photography as well. Alright, so let's go ahead and select subject. And you can see it has selected both the subjects for me. Alright, I don't want that. What if I just wanted to select the smaller friend over here? I'm just going to marquee drag around it. And you can see it has selected it for me. Alright. So pretty decent, pretty cool stuff. So I can create a mask, and yes, we have it. Alright, so pretty fascinating stuff. So this is object selection on steroids, new, enhanced, improved object selection for you. Alright, and then again, don't forget to leverage select and mask, and you can always select portions of an object. Alright, in the 2019 version of Photoshop, while you could, the object selection tool was always there and you could always select the subjects, but then with the 2020 release, the difference is from the subject you can choose a certain area, alright, or certain objects or elements from the image. Alright, you don't suppose there are just like this example, there are two monkeys or two toys. Alright, so both are subjects over here. So if you were working in 2019, it would select them both for you. You didn't have the functionality to select one of those, but with Photoshop 2020 you can always do that. Alright, so moving over to the new tool now. Hello friends, if you really like this segment, then please don't forget to share, comment, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, you can click the bell icon right below this video to be notified about our new tutorials, best practices, tips and tricks as and when we share them. And yes, don't forget to follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest on the links provided below this video. Thank you.